You are now listening to a 302 Birds podcast experience, proudly powered by Tick Pick, Cutbet, El Diablo Burritos, Nick's Pizza, and Klondike Kate's on the heart of Main Street.
When I was thinking about what I wanted to start off the podcast with, because I usually started off with a quote or something, to reflect the week. I was listening to Stan today in my car, and I actually started to cry about how fucking pitiful this team is. And, I don't like to start off the podcast with a curse word for some of our new listeners, but it's been that bad these past couple of weeks. Picture on my wall, it reminds me that it's not so bad. I really hope it's not that bad. I keep reminding myself, some teams aren't in the playoffs. They keep preaching the 0-0 record. So there is hope, fans. There is hope somewhat with this team after that embarrassing loss last week. I mean, I almost want to laugh about it because it was that pitiful. It was that embarrassing. But I will rather just let you guys laugh at us. And we're bringing a longtime friend, a really close friend to me and Jax on the show, one of our closest friends from high school, the biggest Giants fan we know, our boy, Raph. Welcome back to the pod.
You're muted. You fucked it. It's okay. All you want to say is talking shit. Oh, the Eagles beat the Giants last weekend. Yeah, but you guys aren't in the playoffs. You're about to lose Saquon Barkley. What's his face? Sheldon Shepard just retired. So, Danny Dimes has been injured all year. So, I'm not sure what you guys expect for next season. So, cool. You guys beat us. We were talking about it before the show. You kind of fucked yourself with the fifth pick of the draft. But hey, that's all you got to say. I mean, it was a good ride. You're always going to be the least of the East. That is for damn sure.
And while he fixes that, I just want to say, numb. That's I think the biggest word right now as a Philadelphia fan, a Philadelphia Eagles fan that I can use to describe this. Tom, what's Delco looking like after that Giants loss? How's the whole Delco area look?
It's on fire.
Let me put it to you this way. It's not on fire. People are so upset and so numb to it. They started talking about our problems, like violence. They started talking about politics. They started talking about how they're messing with our water systems in Delco right now, how the infrastructure is so bad and what we can do to fix it. That's how bad it's gotten in Delco, to the point we're trying to address our problems, actually, rather than just mask them by just watching the birds. Birds, I literally got told to shut the fuck up because for the fourth straight week, I almost went 100% on calling Brian Johnson's plays. He runs 4 plays. 4. Verticals, quarterback draw, side run, push. That's it. He called 1 slant route, and that was the one play I got wrong this weekend. That was the one play. And we fumbled on it, too.
Rap, try to talk your shit real quick. Let me hear you.
2.0.
I love it, man. I love it. I love Salucci kind of having a meltdown right now in my own presence. This just feels amazing as a backseat experience. I mean, you're calling it, Salucci. You got the tush push. You got the QB draw. I mean, those are the top 2. You're going to hurt your quarterback. How long is
I forgot one play. Wide receiver bubble screen. Sorry, he has 5 plays.
Oh, you don't call that very often, man. It's more of the tush push.
It's on 3rd and 20. He calls it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Only 3rd and 20. Yeah.
Only 3rd and 20.
Oh, I love it. It's as good as a Giants fan, man. I mean, this is probably my dream come true after the ass whooping we received, on Christmas. It was a bad Christmas for me. But last weekend was a beautiful weekend.
What, okay, is it just you beat the Eagles, that's why it was beautiful? It didn't mean shit.
I mean, it meant a lot more, mainly because, the playoff chances of you going anywhere are getting more and more slim. You've now got an injured quarterback. Your number 1 wide receiver is now in the dirt. Where is he going to be next week? Who knows? I mean, you're –
Okay.
your coach is folding in front of everyone's eyes. Everybody was giving him a nice little hand job about 5 weeks ago when you were 10-1, and then what now?
It's not Sirianni. I can personally say it's not Sirianni. It's our coordinators. Sirianni, has that locker room still. Players still love playing for him. It's just the coordinators. We said it before. We see how much we miss Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen is a game changer. Like our offense, yes, we have weapons out the wazoo, but with Brian Johnson's offense, like nothing's working out, and we need we need to figure something out because our team, I still think, is the best team in the NFC. It's just we've had a bad last 5 weeks, and it happens. It's like we've said before. Any given Sunday this year, any given Sunday, who would expect the Dolphins to win 70 to what 40 or whatever? No, it's a weird season this year for NFL. So I'm not all out on the Eagles. I know most of my fans are, but from what they say, and they're going to turn it around. This could be Jason Kelsey's last year, so I'm not too worried about these playoffs.
Now, one point you did say about it's not Sirianni. One thing I could say is that he was the one that hired those coordinators. So I think that if he is the one that brought them in, he should be held accountable. Not just
It's kind of Howie too.
Yeah, but I mean, Nick Sirianni was the one that scouted them and wanted them as his coordinators. So he also has to be held accountable for that. But yeah, it's Eagles are playing like shit. So
couldn't agree more.
I have a question for Rat too. What's next for the Giants? Like you guys had Daniel Jones there. Where do you build around him next? I know before the show you mentioned an offensive line. What would you like personally?
They got Tommy Cutlets.
Yeah, come on.
They do have Tommy Cutlets, but they're not gonna start Tommy Cutlets over a $35 million quarterback that they just paid.
Damn.
I mean, I think I'd like to see more growth in the offensive line. I think it's pretty tough to year after year we've tried to build an offensive line that has gone absolutely nowhere. So it's as a Giants fan, you start to lose hope on like, are we trying to pick rookie offensive linemen up from the draft? Are we trying to trade for better offensive line? Like, what's the deal? But I think the biggest if, ands, and buts is Saquon, and who's gonna fill Sterling Shepard's position and everything like that. You got some big shoes to fill, but you really got to start with that offensive line because if you keep running Daniel Jones into the ground, it's gonna be another season just like this one.
Yeah, you guys fired your defensive coordinator. I saw that. Dable and him got into a shouting match, apparently, on the way out. But for the life of it, the Eagles couldn't stop his blitz. I mean, it was your guys' defense, all Wink Martindale likes to do is blitz. And the Eagles for the
that's Wink. I mean, like, even on the Ravens, dude, his main thing was blitzing. But at some point, it just becomes like – it almost just becomes like repetitive and almost you can see it coming sometimes, Yeah.
Do you think Wink's going to come to Philly? I've been seeing some Philly fans saying Wink to Philly next year for defensive coordinator.
Dude,
they like his
swag.
swag.
That could actually be dirty. I'm actually not going to lie because you got good pass rush. You got a lot of good defensive players on Philly. And if they're run right, like it could be dirty. It could be dirty.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you for joining us, Rap. I do appreciate it. And like I said, congratulations on that win because that second quarter was the most if it makes you feel any better as an Eagles fan, it was the most demoralizing, awful quarter I think I've ever watched in football was served up by you guys to us, our rival. I mean, you guys are back. Now we hate you guys again, so it's fun again.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm just hoping that the Eagles still do better than the Cowboys this postseason. So keep running it up, boys.
I agree on that.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Thank
How
you, man.
about them Cowboys?
That's the nice thing about NFC Beast fans. Like we all kind of unite on that. Like all NFL fans, I think in general, just fuck Dallas, which is great. But that's the beautiful part about fandom. I'm loving Torts lately. I'm not a hockey fan. I'm an amateur, as my Uncle Ballpark Tommy would say. But this guy is making me enjoy watching hockey. They were down 2-0 tonight. I think, is that to the Canadians, Tom? Yes. See that? I'm learning about hockey. I'm learning the logos, all right? I'm not cheating. They were down 2-0, and now they're tied 2-2. This team's looking really good, and the biggest thing that I like about this team, and you don't have to know much about hockey to know this, they got grit. Like, I don't know anything about hockey, but I don't care what happens in the playoffs because it's almost like I'm taking the Flyers first round, no doubt. I'm probably taking the Flyers second round. Gritty teams in a sport like hockey make it far. I think that John Tortorella has done a very great job and a better job than most people would have thought of getting buy-in from these players. We thought it would be a 2-year project, maybe a 3. Torts would be gone by then. As Zepp said, he would be the enforcer. It's going really well, and I just want to applaud him.
Don't please use the technical term, as Torts would say. The Flyers have balls. He literally said that in his post-game interview. He said that they have balls. Yeah, he is literally coaching a group of prospects and nobodies and guys who were maybe slightly above average. Like Couturier was slightly above average his whole career. Nothing like never going to lead the league in anything, but he was like a very solid player, like 1 or 2 liner on a good team. But wasn't ever going to be like top guy. He's changed his team. He's turned it around. He's made them what was supposed to be a laughing stock of a team, cellar dweller all season. He's turned into a real competitive team. All of a sudden, I think they're third in the Metropolitan. Like they're doing great. Night in, night out, they have a chance against the best and the worst.
And I love how everybody's coming to rally around this team. Like Dalt said, he's not a big hockey guy, but they're making him watch it. And especially, what was it, 2 days ago with the, the big Flyers trade, the drama that happened. Cutter said he doesn't want to play for Philly, so we traded his ass out of here. Jonesy stuck. I saw Keith Jones say, you know what? If you don't want to play for Philly, then we don't want you. And the whole, Twitter was all over it. Nobody talks Flyers that much, but a lot of non-Flyers fans came out, rallied around this team, rallied around this city. And it's this defensive guy we got back. Cutter may have more potential, but he's a guy that we can prop in right now on our defense. It's an upgrade, and he wants to play here. So I'm very excited to see that and see how the fans interact like him, with this JD Drew 2.0 situation. Sorry, that's a bad name, Tommy, as a Phillies fan, but
I know. But
But what I was gonna say, so yeah, I mean, I've been watching Flyers more recently, and they're a fun team to watch. Frost is a really good player. I like him a lot, but yeah, they're doing a really good job at just continuing to win games, and that's the biggest thing that you could possibly do. But yeah, I mean, I watched more highlights on this dude that they just traded for, and he's 21 years old, so he has a lot of potential, and they said that he's really good at defense. So I mean, it's exciting to see what he could do with this offense. Just offense and defense eventually. And they're going to be getting Mitchkov soon, so probably in the next year or two. So it's going to be interesting when he comes with Philadelphia. But yeah, I mean, overall, fuck Cutter, that's for sure. I mean, somebody sent it into the group chat about Delco Steaks putting out a thing saying that he had little bitch syndrome or something like that. Pretty funny.
I love that. That's good advertising right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ash, I know you watch a good amount of Flyers. What are your thoughts on the whole Torts situation and how it's going?
I'm excited. I think the biggest thing for him, and he had kind of said this before, was making sure that he won over the players and got the players fully invested. And that's exactly what's happened. And it has been really fun just to watch this team suddenly become way more confident. And I'm not like expecting us to win the division or anything like that. But just the fact that I feel like we've seen so much more of a culture shift in the last year. And that's what's most exciting for me as a fan, is not just this season, but moving forward as well.
I love the culture shift, like you said. And it's not just the culture shift for the players, it's a culture shift for the fans too. And that just makes the hairs on your back stand up. Woo! We're podcasting now, baby. The popcorn is cooking. And you know who's cooking this week in his parlays? He said, you know what? I've been kind of going a little bit low. I went 800. I went 700. Then I went all the way down to 6. I'm tired of Dalt talking shit. We're going to end out the season with a bang. Decker locks.
Man, what a time to be alive, fellas. We made it. NFL playoffs, best betting time of the year. It's so fun. Get your futures in now on the Browns to win the Super Bowl. No, I'm kidding. All right. Our parlay, I'm tired of getting called a bitch for only the plus 600 odds. We're going to almost plus 1,000 here. First game, Browns Texans alternate spread, plus 8.5. Honestly, that game, I have no idea who's going to win. It's the Browns are 2.5 point favorite. I think it's going to be very close. Texans can definitely win that one outright, so I like teasing them. Oh man, this one's a sad one. Next one, I'm fading my Lions. Nobody wants to play the Rams right now. The Rams are red hot. They're going into Detroit. What a storyline. Matthew Stafford versus former team. And I saw something on Twitter. The Lions are sending a memo out that Stafford jerseys are banned for the stadium. So going Rams plus 3.5. Sam Laporta out is a huge blow for the Lions. And then in this game, man, the Lions defense has been a problem all year. Some games they look great, and some games they look like Sean Desai and Matt Patricia's pathetic ass defense. So that's why I'm going to take their 2 stud wide receivers over, going with Puka's normal over, and then Cup 50 plus. I think Cup can definitely score a touchdown too for bonus props. All right, now my favorite lock of the week. I had to parlay. I got to figure out what to parlay with, but just the Chiefs money line. They're playing at home in 0 degrees. Come on, what do you guys think Tua is going to do on the road in 0 degrees? Dolphins are banged up. I don't know if the Chiefs cover -4, but Chiefs are the lock of the century. I hate to say it, but if you want to parlay it with the team, Dallas. I'm kidding. Dallas sucks. So that's why we're going Jordan Love 200 plus pass yards. I am happy as an Eagles fan. We do not have to play the Packers right now. I would be scared what Jordan Love would do to our defense, but I definitely think Dallas's defense isn't perfect, and yeah, Jordan Love will have a good game, but I think the Cowgirls probably win this game. So good luck, everybody. Bet responsibly.
And look at those odds, man. Can I tail this bet? 100 turns into $987. Can I tail this, Decker?
Of course you can.
I wouldn't recommend. I tried it. Doesn't work.
Fuck.
You just didn't try it the right week, buddy. But yeah, we'll find out. And big shout out to Sharps for sponsoring that segment. If you guys aren't, download the Sharps app and be sure to use our code. The link is in the bio, or you can DM me. And I will get you on that app. But it's an awesome social media outlet where you can brag with your friends about sports betting, talk some shit, and if you're like Decker, be like, yeah, guys, this is how you turn a hundo into a band real quick. This has been awful as a whole for this team. Is this the worst collapse in Philly sports? Who wants to take this one first? Because this question sucks ass. I'm not going to lie.
I got you, Dutchie. Because what's the comparison everybody's been making all week? The 1964 Philadelphia Phillies. Now I know for anyone to really remember this, you got to be about 75 years old, because you probably be about 12. But
I thought it was 66.
No, it was 1964. Trust me, Jackson. You can look it up. Look it up. I want you to look it up right now after doing that. I'm calling your ass out on it. But 1964 Phillies, 10 game they lost 10 games in the span of 9 days. All they needed to do was go or they lost 12 games really in the span of 10 days. Because they had 2 doubleheaders at the end of September. And back in 1964, the MLB didn't have a playoff system yet. So what they then did is if you had the best record in the National League and American League, that's who faced off in the World Series. So by the Phillies not even being able to go 2-10 in the final stretch of that 10-day period in September, all they need to do is win two games in 12 games total, and you're in the World Series. And they collapsed. And then they never made it back to a World Series or had a chance at the World Series. They didn't even crack top 5 till 1976, 12 years later. That's what we could see with the Birds here. Go from riding high to all of a sudden we're looking at 2036 till their next chance at a Super Bowl. Like, that's like the historic collapse we're talking about. No other team went 10-1 in NFL history and failed to win at least 12 games, 12 or more games. We are the only team to do that. We are crawling into the playoffs. This is a dying team right now. And they look like those 1964 Phillies that crushed this whole series, in this whole city. They're crushing this they're just crushing our souls.
And
Did
now
you
the
bring up the
narrative
77, 78 Flyers too, Tom? That might be the worst in my opinion. Down up 3. It said, I said amateur of hockey. I looked up what were the worst quote unquote collapses in Philly sports history. I asked ChatGPT, truthfully. And ChatGPT said in 77 and 78, the Flyers were up 3-0 on the Islanders in the Stanley Cup. And then ended up losing.
Yes.
That might take the cake.
I think if you put that into modern, this is where we get into revisionist history as a society. But if you go back to that point in time in Philadelphia, hockey wasn't as big as it is now. Hockey got big after their 2 Stanley Cups in the 73, 74, 74, 75 back-to-back cup years. Sure, yeah, 1978, okay, it was big-ish then, but you still really just had the dominance of the Flyers, Sixers, and Phillies, really. Hockey was still gaining traction. It was only around at that point, I want to say at that point for about 11 years in Philadelphia. Because they came into existence, I want to say in 1967, maybe 68, the Flyers, and that the team hadn't embraced this, the city hadn't fully embraced the city yet. That's the only reason why I don't think it's as heartbreaking of a loss. Whereas, the Phillies were ingrained in this city since 1883. The Eagles had been ingrained since 1936 at this point. Hey, the Sixers, after moving from Syracuse, had been ingrained in this city. So, that's the only reason why I say that's not as heartbreaking as maybe this collapse and the Phillies collapse in 64. That's the only reason.
All I gotta say is we're still in the playoffs. Yes, we've lost the 1-5 the last 6 weeks, but it's not a total collapse. We're still in the playoffs. Like Matt said, it's a bad situation, but it's not the worst, collapse. We still have the whole playoffs to right the ship and turn it around because, people are counting us out already. I love the Eagles fan base or Philadelphia fan base. We're losing. Oh, throwing the towel. No, that's not how it's. Yes, that's how people want to do, but we still went 11-6, and we're still in the playoffs. Granted, it's an ugly last 6 weeks, but I don't think we should throw in the towel quite yet. We'll see how this game goes because this is make or break it for us. So I think we're being too harsh as any Philly fan base is. Yes, it sucks. We hate fucking losing for sure, but don't throw in your towel quite yet. This team is still a good team. So, and we have like 12 days to rest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all those injuries we had, Devontae should be back. I think we'll be good. I think we'll beat the Bucs. I think it's gonna be, this is gonna prove to the fan base that we still want this. We have all these old heads on the team, so that's all I gotta say.
But so you were saying when to not throw in the towel. When is the time to throw in the towel? Like there's only 1 week left, it's essentially. So like when is the time to throw in the towel? So I think you throwing in the towel
After
right
the
now and
season's
you're
over.
worrying about
What do
your
you
asses
mean?
going home this week.
After the season's over, throw in the towel.
No.
The fourth quarter in the Bucs game, if we end up fucking losing when we're laying in the dirt, like, shit, this one's gonna hurt.
Yeah, I think you throw in the towel this week, and because essentially it's the last game of the season, and it's either win or get your asses sent home. Simple.
So the towel's in for Big Sean, basically, is what we're hearing.
Yeah, it's win or go home.
It's just crazy how, just real quick, how fast
You're all good. Go ahead.
everything can change in a month. 10-1. Now we're underdog. Oh, I know we're favorites against the Bucs, but now BG's starting the narratives. You know what? I'm tired of it. We're underdogs. Here we go again. The Eagles in the playoffs, fucking underdog mentality. Dude, we're playing the Buccaneers right now. The Buccaneers suck, and they're not a good football team. But if we can start, if we need to beat them first, 1 game at a time. Then we can start with the underdog shit once we're underdogs against Dallas or the Niners. So that's all. That just quick point. We're underdog mentality again, underdog city, all that.
So, on a more positive note, looking back, we're past the regular season. Obviously, for myself, my favorite part of the regular season, I think, was the Kelly Green debut, the game against the Dolphins. I got to go with Alyssa. It was a very cool game to go together. It was just, and you can ask Alyssa too, like being there that night when it was just, and a lot of people have gone to Eagles games where they've decked it out Kelly Green. Now they just have that partnership, I guess, with the company, with the app on your phone where it lights up the whole stadium. It is sick. But that was my first time actually seeing it, and it was the Kelly Green game, so there was almost like an X factor. And I think for myself, that was probably my favorite moment. Watching the Eagles just dominate the Dolphins. The Dolphins were, the team to beat in football then, and we just felt on top of the mountaintop then. We felt unbeatable, and unfortunately, it's all collapsed before us, but there were some positives from the regular season. So let me ask you guys, what were some of your favorite takeaways? Because the season ain't over, but regular season moments.
My favorite was the AJ Brown stretch we had going on. I mean, if only we could find that strive again with AJ, but there's 5-6 games, he had 125 plus. Like Dalt said, I felt unstoppable then. Yeah, I think AJ Brown had a rough 2 to 3 games to start the season, and then he just started going off. So that was my favorite stretch. We just felt on top of the world. We were dominating everybody. And when you break Calvin Johnson's record, that you're doing something right as a receiver. And the vibes were good then. There was no fights, nothing with the media. Vibes were immaculate then. I'd do anything to go back to then.
I hear that.
Yeah, I think my favorite point in time this season was when DeAndre Swift was actually running the ball, when they actually gave him a shot. So that's probably when my favorite time of the season is watching him go off for 125 rushing yards per game, and at least a touchdown or two. So it was really nice. But yeah, like you said, the Kelly Greens were probably the highlight of the year. I was at both games, the Dolphins and the Bills, and got to experience pretty good wins. So, yeah.
Yeah, my favorite kind of track here was definitely the mastering of the brotherly shove. I think it was just so fun to see all the teams try to replicate it, but they can't quite do it. And to see all of everybody coming out and talking about it, from the Kelsey podcast to college games. I mean, I literally don't think I watched a bowl game or the national championship or a playoff game or anything without it being mentioned at least once. And I just think that's really cool how the Eagles have had this kind of sweeping impact on not only the NFL, but football as a whole.
I think for me, there's two. Week 1, because baby football's all back, baby. Gotta love seeing those birds run out the tunnel, okay? And then, what week was it? Week 13, week 11, week 12? When Big Dom had a little fight with Greenlaw on the sideline. If you guys notice, after that, that's where we started hitting the the shit in the bed. Big Dom's back on the sideline this week, so keep that in mind.
Big Dom and Sandra, baby.
Dutch,
I like that a lot.
I'm going to tell you the last time I felt alive. The last time I felt joy with this team. It was watching Jalen Hurts put out his arms like, I'm the man. And after the Buffalo game, after running it in right up the gut, it's the last time I felt alive. Seeing Jake the make that improbable kick in the rain and the wind was the last time I felt alive, Dutch. And that was easily the best part of the season. And unfortunately, it might be the best part of the season. I hope I'm wrong.
Again, alone. No, yeah, that's gonna be all of us come Tuesday morning, Monday night, vodka bottle, shower, jersey on. You know the drill. If we get there, hopefully not. But I mean, let's just say this ain't our first rodeo. If we get there,
Or is it gonna
As
be?
far
Is it
as-
gonna be? Is it gonna be Bird Spirits vodka?
Bird Gang.
oh, of course it's gonna be
Yeah.
Bird Gang Vodka. Good question, my man.
Come on.
Yeah, shout out to Bird Gang Vodka. If you guys haven't tried them out, we partnered with them during the season, and that would have been one of my favorite moments too. Was actually a wild card moment, real quick, before we move on to the next segment. Sean already knows where I'm going with this. Favorite moment, favorite tailgate of the year, Bill's tailgate. We
Bill's
met this
tailgate.
crazy ass kid. His name was Decker. We like didn't really know him, and this kid he ended up breaking a table and showing Bills fans how it was done after he got embarrassed by Bills fans. But that's the cool part about Decker. He made peace with the Bills fans, and we got the W, and he got the W.
And he
in his
ate a
best that
chicken
week.
too.
Yeah, just a normal Sunday for me.
Just a normal Sunday.
Elite answer, just like Joe Flacco. And tonight we actually have an elite guest for you guys, somebody who's also joined us, a longtime friend of 302 Birds, Eric, a.k.a. Shard. Welcome to the show. How we doing tonight, my man?
What's going on, brother?
Hey, I wanted to bring you on for this segment because I knew you would get passionate about it. I know you've been waiting to tear into this team, and I wanted to set it up for the right time. But looking past the regular season, going into the playoffs, what coaches do you want to see leave, and who do you want to see them replace with?
So I was talking to my wife about this earlier when we were having a conversation. Obviously, I want to see Brian Johnson get the fucking boot. Dude fucking sucks. Dude is absolutely fucking terrible. When all you can call are two fucking Madden plays, either a QB draw or a fucking bubble screen, you're not an offensive coordinator, dude. You need to be fucking demoted back to quarterback coach, or you need to get the boot, go scrub some toilets somewhere else. Because the shit you're doing here is not working. You have an elite roster. You have two wide receivers with over 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons, and you're making them look like shit. Making them look like absolute dog shit. And if he had to be replaced, I mean, there's a lot of coaches that just got fired that, in my opinion, should not have gotten fired that are way better than this fucking douchebag.
Hey, Nick Saban's free. That's all I got to say. Just retired. And Bill Belichick, man, this is going to be, I think, the craziest coaching offseason ever. Vrabel got fired.
The carousel begins.
What the hell happened with Pete Carroll? Did he get fired? Because it sounded like in his press conference that he never said he wanted to be done coaching. Like, did they force him out? And they're like, hey,
he got moved
Pete,
to something else.
Yeah,
He's in the front office now. He's in the front office.
Like, are you, Pete? You're on the wrong side of 70. You know, we're about to check you into the nursing home. I think it's time. And meanwhile, he's just chewing his gum. But yeah, we got a lot of coaching candidates this offseason, man.
You got what do you got? You got Bill Belichick, you got Pete Carroll, you got The
Vrabel.
Titans, you got the Titans coach, which I don't even know why the fuck the
Vrabel's a
Titans.
damn good coach. We just fucking Howie just fleeced the Titans, and that's why they suck.
The Philadelphia Titans are reuniting next year. Would you like to see
Derrick
Vrabel back
Henry.
in Philadelphia, Decky?
I don't know, man. Here's the thing. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's say if Sirianni got fired, would Howie go after an offensive or defensive coach? Because typically, our last defensive coach in franchise history hired was Ray Rhodes. Personally, I think Sirianni stays here and we just get his bum ass D-League coordinators out of here so we can stop calling Madden plays. But, man, if you were going to fire your coach, this would be the off season to do it. There's some fucking legends out there.
Go after Jim Harbaugh.
That's another name too. Like this, yeah. And the Bears are fucking keeping their coach like an idiot. they're like, hey, let's run it back with Matty Eberflus one more year. Yeah, that's
they
really
should bring in, which they've been saying it for a while. He doesn't have to be a coach; he can be an assistant. Bring in Frank Wright for the offense, making him an assistant.
Please.
All I gotta say is, I don't think we need to get rid of Nick Sirianni because, granted, yes, it's been a rough season, new coordinators, whatever you call it, but he's been the head coach for 3 years, right? The past 3 years have been in the playoffs. 1 out of the 3 years we were in the Super Bowl, and I would give him another year as the head coach and see what happens after the first year because, I mean, I don't know. I just think we need to keep him for another year and then kind of revisit it next season.
Okay, but can I piggyback off of that and ask you a question?
Yeah. Do
you think that the coordinators make Nick Sirianni look good, or like? Because I mean, like, think about with Shane Steichen and John Gannon, right? With him, he looked fucking great. Like he could, lead this team into anything he wanted to do, to a Super Bowl, whatever. Now you have 2 shit coordinators and you look like shit. So next season, if he gets 2 good coordinators, do you think that he'll be good again?
I think so. I think these are not the greatest coordinators to have. Yes, this is Nick Sirianni's playbook, right? But I mean, I think we saw Shane Steichen. He was able to call different plays when they needed to be, whereas Brian Johnson has not been able to formulate a good game plan. And I think by having new coordinators, I think we will see a better season and it'll make Nick Sirianni look better. I don't think Nick Sirianni is a terrible coach. I think his coordinators making him look like a worse head coach than he is. Yes. To answer the question, so yes.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I think as well. I think honestly, and I think you said it earlier. I think Big Dom was one of the. I think Big Dom was one of the biggest things for this sideline ever since he left. I mean, the team's been shit, but there's a theory that he was the one calling the plays and he was kind of undercover. And once he left, the team kind of
Big Dom.
Yeah. Big Dom was calling the plays from the sideline.
Conspiracy theory.
But
interesting.
But yeah, I mean, to kind of close because I don't want to take up all your time. I do think give Nick another season, see how he does with different coordinators. I think if we do hire somebody else, don't get these rookie coordinators. Brian Johnson's a rookie, didn't know what he's doing. Sean Desai, I think, was an assistant for Seattle for a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he was ever an offensive or defensive coach. I might be wrong. I don't really know. But we
Desai?
Desai. I know Matt Patricia was Patriots.
Desai was the defense coordinator for the Seahawks.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think we need veteran coaches. I don't like how he did in the offseason with hiring these people. I thought we all thought that it was going to be a good hire, but obviously that didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to. But yeah, I think this offseason there's a lot of good coordinators that we can pull from. And don't be loyal like we did to John Gannon. Like we gave him too much loyalty and it bit us in the ass, and we could have gotten somebody a lot better, and we didn't. But don't want to take up a lot of your time. Thank you guys for having me on, and I'll see you guys again sometime in the future.
Sounds good, Shar. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Okay. And now on to our second to last segment, which is actually a trivia. But before we hit the trivia, I just realized we never hit our El Diablo intro. I apologize. Working on a little bit of a new show structure. And before I hit the El Diablo intro, I do have just a couple of housekeeping announcements for you guys who are active listeners. In the next few weeks, hopefully in February, this will happen whenever the Eagles season ends after they win the Super Bowl. On wood. We're going to take a quick break just for 1 week, just to reset to get into season 6. It'll be the end of season 5, whenever that is. And we will be starting season 6. Before we start season 6, we want to make season 6 amazing for you guys. Our best season yet. I have a lot planned in. I want to do something where you guys can call in to the show live Wednesday nights, where we'll be simultaneously live on TikTok. I already have Instagram figured out. That's done. That's handled. But I really just want to get this show more with legs. And you guys are a big piece of that. So we appreciate all of you. But for everybody's health and well-being, all of our podcast hosts that work super hard for you guys to make sure that they're here every Wednesday night, we're going to take a little break. We're going to come together and figure out what we want to do to just make this show a little bit better for you guys. Not saying that it's not good already, but you can always improve. So we appreciate y'all. But with that being said, I do want to thank El Diablo for sponsoring our call-in segment and being like the best burritos in Delaware.
What do I want when I'm in the state of Delaware? Of course, El Diablo Burritos. Customer service always is serving your food with a smile on their face, asking how your day is, but their food is phenomenal as well. Their burritos are out of this world, one of the best burritos in town. Their queso is phenomenal. Their burrito bowls are amazing as well. When you're in and around Delaware, stop by your local El Diablo Burritos and tell them that 302 Birds sent you. God bless. Go Birds. Thank you, El Diablo Burritos, for that sponsorship. Just before I go on with the question, this comment popped up. Matt saying this, right? He's the one that hated Desai. I told him he's an idiot. So I just wanted to make that clear about that. But anyway, without further ado, tonight's question we have for you is, which football player was drafted out of Oklahoma in 1988 by the Eagles and played tight end? Again, which player was drafted out of Oklahoma in 1988 by the Eagles and played tight end? A, Skip Sharp, B, Mike Mamula, C, Randy Beezer, or D, Keith Jackson? And we will give your answer at the end of the show. Do we want to see the scoreboard? I'm not sure if you guys did that last week because I wasn't on the show.
Yeah, we did do it last week. I did not make it this week, so I apologize. We'll give you guys an update next week or whenever that is. We will crown our champion. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I can pull up the score from last week. Let me go to our group chat and I'll figure out what it is. If I'm not mistaken, I think Ashley's in the lead, right?
I think Tom and I are tied now. Right now. I'm not quite there yet, but I think Tom and I are tied.
Yeah, Tom, I think, is actually up. I think Tom, last I looked, had 8, which I think he got 1 last week, right? Or was he not here last week?
He was.
You're muted.
Were you out last week? I can't remember.
I was sick.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I think then we will be tied.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out regardless. But, I mean, it is a close match right now between Ashley and Tom. It looks like they're going to be going for the belt or whatever we're going to get for our champion, and we'll mail it to each other. I think it would be really fun if we all went in on a belt. And that person for the season, the trivia champ, gets to keep it wherever they are, in their room, in their podcast room, wherever they want. But it's a tight race. The fans, let us know your answers in the comments, and we will get involved into our last topic. Thank you guys for the patience. Look, it's a somber week for Eagles fans. I actually thought about, I did today. I was like, what would it be like to travel to Tampa? What would it be like to go down there, right? And watch this team play. And then I thought, my bank account isn't going to like it. Even if we win this game, it's going to be an ugly game, I think, even if we win. Like, best case scenario is the Eagles win in a close game. The Bucs have won 5 of their last 6. They're a hot team. They have completely bought into the whole Baker midfield aspect of this team. And, they're all rallying behind him. They're one of the scarier teams in the NFC. The AFC has 2 of them. You got the Browns and the Texans. I love that they're playing each other in the first round. You let them duke it out. I feel like the NFC doesn't really have that. Maybe the Rams and the Lions is the closest thing. But this game, the Eagles, if you would have told me that we were playing the Bucs first round, I would have said walk in the park. The Bucs are making the playoff. And now it feels like the Bucs should actually be favored. The Eagles are 2.5-point favorites. But, like I said, Bucs are a hot team. 5 of their last 6. They have experienced wide receivers, which is what scares me the most with these cornerbacks. Mike Evans, Delaware guy, Chris Godwin, I think is a great player. So I'm really nervous because I think that the Bucs have an underrated offense. And the fact that they're playing at home where they're comfortable, where Baker's comfortable in the heat, I think that they could get a win.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious. I'm nervous for this game. I think should the Eagles win it? Yes. Also, being 2.5-point favorites is not much of anything in the NFL, in my opinion. I feel like it's 2 pretty evenly matched teams. The one thing that I will say is that Tampa, like Dalton said, is very, very hot. And the Eagles need to get their act together now, like yesterday, if we have any hope of coming out of Wild Card Weekend and moving on to the next. Otherwise, we are done, and Tampa will be the end of our season.
Look. They just beat the Panthers 9-0, right? That's 3 field goals, right? Okay. They don't have much of a defense at all compared to us. And our offense, yes, we've been it's a little injured right now, but I just think, as Brandon Graham has said it before, as Jason Kelsey has said it before, they're coming out 0-0 is what the slate is right now, right? Jason Kelsey, this could be his last year. This could be Brandon Graham's last year. This could be Fletcher Cox's last year. So I think the veteran players on this team are going to rally these players, these young players, to get them to straighten the fuck up, because this is important. Win or go home. Win or go home. And we lost to the Bucs 2 years ago, first round of the playoffs, and they're not going to let that happen again. So I think the Eagles are going to come out guns blazing. They have had a shaky, last 5 weeks, but I think these veterans in the locker room are going to step it up and show us fans that they are meant to be here. They are meant to be a winning team. So I think the Eagles will win by at least 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
Woo!
Oh,
Book it. I like it. Are you taking that to Vegas too?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out why these reactions are in my way. They're pissing me off. Anyway,
Jack.
that's all I got to say.
Jack, I think you're giving our friend Brian Johnson too much credit. I think Brian Johnson's going to see the blitz, and he's going to call a route for all his receivers to run 20 yards down the field while Jalen Hurts is getting his ass sacked again, and just like he did last week. Like, I'm not sure what you've been watching, Jack, to give you this optimism, but
okay. But Tom, before you continue,
no.
Oh my God,
We have it is 2 trash cans going down the block. Like, whichever one wins the race, we will see. Hey, the Bucs are a blitz heavy defense, and Brian Johnson is a do whatever I can do to screw up this offense type of coordinator. He's gonna call all fly routes when he should be calling screens for once. He calls screens when you should be calling fly routes. Fly routes when you should be calling screens. Quarterback draws when they have spies. It's going to be a low scoring game for the Eagles and a high scoring game for the Bucs at this point. Because Baker Mayfield had a zin this week. All the gods are telling me he's going to win. And it's going to be 31-7 at this point. I hope I'm wrong.
You are just like any other Eagles fan that's from Delco that, all bets are off. We're going to lose by so fucking much. Dude, the Eagles are a better fucking team than the Buccaneers, okay?
I said that about the Giants. I said that about the Cardinals. Look what that got me.
I said that about the Seahawks too, and look what got me.
Yeah.
This is
you have. I guess I'm just optimistic. You need you really think that Eagles are gonna lose by, more than they're gonna lose to the Buccaneers.
They might.
Yes.
They just lost to the Giants.
And it wasn't close either.
Okay.
But I
mean,
like
they got
the point
blown
about
out.
barely beating the Panthers. That was a pretty good point.
Anyway, Tom, we have said this before. Any NFC East matchup is always a good game, no matter it be the Eagles, Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles, Redskins. Okay.
Then explain to me the Cardinals.
They were NFC
The
East.
Cardinals used to be NFC.
Not
They were
NFC
NFC
East.
East back in 2006.
Yes, but
No, like in the late 90s, but that's still recent enough.
No, not in my book.
I would say in my book, that is. That's actually, I'll
Also,
take that one. That's
Tom,
like when the kid writes Jesus as the answer on the test and you have to accept it. It's a good answer.
the fucking Cardinals beat the Cowboys too. Like, what the fuck?
Okay.
So your point is not valid. Okay, yeah, it was a tough loss, but the Cowboys, I think, and I hate saying this, are a little better than the Eagles on paper, right? And they still lost to the fucking Cardinals by at least, I think it was like 10 points.
Okay.
Cowboys, to be fair, the Cowboys are that was really beginning of the year, and the Cowboys proved that they're a different team.
Thank you, Decker.
I hate defending the fucking Cowboys, but it's okay, guys. We've been fucking waiting for Dallas Goedert even said, he's like, you know what? It was kind of since we've been 10-1, he admits that the team was looking to the playoffs so much. And, Sirianni could have done a better job of getting them focused, for the regular season games at a time, because, you're 10-1, you're top of the world. You think you pretty much clinched the 1 seed in the NFC, but they weren't. They were focusing too much on the playoffs. So let's hope what everybody says. Like Brandon Graham, this team's built for the playoffs. Let's see that. Let's see if they're all talk or what, or if they're truly one of the biggest disasters in Philly sports history.
And we will find out on Monday.
Of course, they have to wait for Monday. The anticipation.
And they make us wait till Monday because they know that's when they'll get the most viewership. Nobody wants to watch, you know what I mean? As much as I think the Rams and Lions, true NFL fans will want to watch, but you're not going to get, the family sitting down that you will with an Eagles game. And if I don't know what's going to happen. I'll just say this, and we can go into our trivia in a second. I think that somehow, some way, the Eagles will be in second round, and they will face one of these teams that they have a story against. Like when you think about it, if the Eagles make it out of this, hypothetically, the NFL has a script for each of these games. If Carson Wentz comes into Philadelphia to play Jalen Hurts, the NFL is going to explode.
That's impossible.
If the Eagles play the Cowboys in Dallas, you know what I mean, in the NFC Championship or even in the divisional, I think that game's going to go nuts. And moreover, when this team, hopefully, knock on wood, don't want to jinx anything, but makes it to the NFC Championship and then has had that route to get there, like that story, it's going to feel so good to beat the Niners. And honestly, I do want to match up against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I keep saying it, but if this is the last podcast of season 5, I do want to thank you guys for listening to it. I don't think it will be. I think we'll at least probably do one more just reacting to the playoffs, and then we'll probably take a week off after that. But just as a subtle reminder, we will be taking a break soon. Now to wrap up our show with our trivia answers for you guys.
Time for everybody's favorite part of the show, 302 Trivia, with your host, Jack Dordan, the mayor of Delaware.
Thank you, Football Network, for sponsoring that. Tonight's question we have for you is, which player was drafted out of Oklahoma in 1988 by the Eagles and played the position of tight end? A. Skip Sharp. B. Mike Mamula. C. Randy Geezer. Or D. Keith Jackson. And tonight's answer for you is Dalton's typing me.
No, I got it wrong.
Okay. Tonight's answer is D. Keith Jackson.
Damn.
So Sean got it wrong.
I got that one.
I said Mike Mamula, baby.
He was a
Mike
linebacker
Mamula.
that they drafted in the 90s.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I didn't read the whole question because I couldn't see on the ticker, and I just assumed when I heard the late 80s that Mamula was. I think Mamula was the early 90s.
Yes. So Tom got it wrong.
I did.
Yes.
Sean got it wrong. Decker got it right. Surprise.
It was a
And
guess.
then Ashley got it right as well, and Dalton got it wrong. And I don't know if Matt said anything. No, he didn't. But yeah, that is tonight's trivia question. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll give you the leaderboard next week updated.
Yeah, and I don't have any other announcements. If you want to go ahead and close it up, thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes. Well, boys and girls, fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be a ride. This is going to be a fucking ride. This is going to be nerve-breaking. This is going to be wild. This is going to be happy. This is going to be sad. But Monday night, I think the game's at 8 o'clock, is when it matters the most. And the Eagles are going to take it to the fucking flags and punch them in their mouth and win. Other than that, I just want to hype you guys up a little bit. Hey, Josh, it's an outro, not an intro. Hit that motherfucking outro.